One other form of permissibility is that the intention of disclosing the fault should not be to speak ill of him, but the aim is for the sake of identification or recognition of the said person. For example, that person who is well known by those particular defects. In other words, it has become a title for him. Then in such a case, the objective is identification and not to disclose the defect, such as a'ma, which refers to a blind person, a'mash, which refers to a person who is blear-eyed, a'raj, it refers to a lame or crippled person, and ahwal, it refers to a person who is squint. From amongst the Sahaba Ikram, Abdullah bin Maktoum radiallahu ta'ala anhu was blind, and in narrations the word a'ma appears with his name. Amongst the muhaddithin, Sulaiman Amash is very distinguished. Amash means blear-eyed, and this word is used with his name as a sign of recognition. Similarly, here for the sake of recognition, someone is referred to as blind, squint, short or tall. This does not fall within the category of Gheebat. To examine or be critical of the narrators of Hadith, witnesses in a case and authors, and to state their shortcomings is permissible. If the shortcomings of the narrators are not stated, then one will not be able to differentiate between those hadiths which are authentic and those which are not authentic. Similarly, if the condition of the authors is not stated, then there will be no difference between authentic and unauthentic books. If the witnesses in a case are not cross-examined, then the rights of the Muslims will not be protected. From the beginning until the end, there are 11 such situations which apparently seem to be Gheebat, but in reality do not fall within the category of Gheebat. To state those defects is permissible, and in certain cases it becomes wajib to state them. Just as one commits Gheebat with the tongue, it can also be committed by one's actions. If one commits slander, means backbiting, explicitly, or by hinting through a veiled reference, or by doing so indirectly, allusively, then in all these conditions it is regarded as being haram. No matter whatever the nature of the defect, means being stated, it will fall within the category of backbiting. The example of tareed is when discussing someone to say, Alhamdulillah, I am not like that. The meaning of which is that he, means the person who is being discussed, is like that. If one writes the defect of someone, this too is regarded as Gheebat. To gesture by nodding the head, etc. can also be regarded as Gheebat. An example of this is when someone is being praised and one moves his head in a manner whereby he intends to show that you are not aware of the defects or faults that he has within him. Gheebat can also be committed when gesturing by moving the lips and eyes, and by raising the eyebrows and gesturing with the tongue and hand. It has been mentioned in one hadith that Hazrat Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha says, a woman visited us, and after she had left, I gestured with my hand to imply that she was shot. Huzur sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, you have committed a Gheebat against her. One form of Gheebat is to imitate or mimic. For example, to walk with a limp in order to mimic a crippled person, or to imitate the manner in which a particular person walks. This too is regarded as a Gheebat. Actually, this is more contemptible than saying it with the tongue, since by imitating him, one is completely emulating him and the point is being clearly understood, which is not easily understood when it is just said.